We have a new week in the crew Motorfest and thus a new summit. The European Elegance Summit Guide is right here for you. Let's go! Alright, before I get into the video, quick shout out to Simgii. We combed through these events together and he helped me tremendously with discovering shortcuts and with different advice on the summit. So please go sub to his channel. There's a link in the description down below. Alright, let's get into the cars first. The summit bundle will get you the Bugatti Chiron, the Renault RS01, and the Citroen C3. That's a hypercar, racing car, and a rally car. It is a pretty expensive bundle. I believe it's 2.7 if I'm not mistaken, but you will need a couple of additional vehicles. I prefer the Bugatti 110 and the Bugatti Bolide or Bolide or Bolide. I'm not sure how you say it. Sorry, France. If you have the cash for those cars, I definitely recommend it. If you don't have the cash for those vehicles, you can definitely use the Summit bundle vehicles as they give you enough to complete the summit. They're just not going to be as useful or as fast. In addition to that, you're going to be needing a slalom vehicle of choice. Just make sure you've got one with score breaker on it. That's the key. The vehicle itself is not as important as it is to have score breaker, so make sure you've got it. And an escape car of your choice. I prefer a hypercar, and you definitely want Nitro Chemist if you've got it. For this summit, the slalom vehicle is going to be the Lamborghini Gallardo Super Trofeo racing car, and then for the escape, I'm using the Agera R. All right, the keys to this summit are patience, and I'm going to say this a lot throughout this video. You got to have patience. These are very frustrating races, but in my opinion, they're actually really fun as well. So just have some fun with it. Don't get over angry at some of these courses because there are some really tricky sections. And then finally, Nitro Chemist on hypercar, racing, and rally. You need Nitro Chemist on all three of those. At the very least, if you can't get Nitro Chemist, you got to have pure and extra pump fully maxed out on those three categories. Again, hyper, racing, and rally. All right, here are the pro settings for all the vehicles that I used, and then we'll get into the events. First up is Modern Delicacy. Now this one you're using the Bugatti Chiron, starting with the launch. If you're in manual, you need to upshift into second immediately. The AI are a pain in this one, so I have them set to the easiest difficulty to help it out, but it's best if you can get that nice traction control launch as well. Now for the cuts at 21%, you'll be downshifting and taking the dirt on the left towards the checkpoint. This was far from clean and it can be improved. At 33%, you're going to cut to the left and reset when you hit the checkpoint. Line it up by looking at the distance marker in the distance. Distance marker in the distance. At 45%, if you got NOS and some speed, hypercars are the best for off-road, so this cut through the dirt makes sense. But then stay straight, and then you can cut the following corner to the right as well, as you're seeing in the background gameplay. At 66%, you can cut left at the top of the hill. It's only faster if you can do it cleanly. My clip probably could have been better. However, I definitely recommend doing that if you can do it without losing too much traction. At 82%, you can go straight through the next checkpoint like you're seeing in the background gameplay, then reset your car when you get to the next checkpoint. And then you can do basically the same thing again at 87%. You can cut down the hill towards the checkpoint. And a reset here is also possible, but I didn't in this clip. And I think if I were to do this again, I would have tested the reset to see if that was any faster. But basically run it both ways, see which one you get a better time on. All right, moving on to Deadly Edges. This is going to be in the C3 rally car. Unfortunately, there's not a lot to talk about here other than you need to exercise patience and throttle control. I know this race will be frustrating for a lot of you, but just keep practicing. That being said, there is one reset point I would recommend at 90%. You're going to go through these trees and bushes straight towards the next checkpoint and reset when you get there. All right, moving on to Gritty Landscape. Now this one I'm going to let my full run play because there's a lot of lines and things that I need to mention in order to give you guys the best chance on this particular race. This is a race that I've tested so many rally cars on and I'm very familiar, but that being said, this is no means my best run on the course, but you will at least get to see the lines that I'm taking and the cuts that I'm taking. Also pay attention to the NOS usage as well. My fastest time on this course is a 2:15.5, which I did not get in this clip, so I'll probably go back and grind it again to get a lower time. But anyways, enjoy this race and we'll move on to the next one after it's done. This next one is called Classy Curves. This course's time relies heavily on your ability to gutter turn. There are a lot of them in this race, and aside from that, there is one reset point at 21%. You can just cut to the left and reset your car at the checkpoint. Aside from that, just gutter turn whenever you have a chance. All right, moving on to Infinite Climb. This one is in the 110 and this one is actually a lapped race, so I'll let my first full lap play out for you guys, as I always do in these videos. If you have any questions about this lap, you're welcome to DM me at any time on Instagram, Twitter, or Discord. Enjoy the lap, and we'll move on when it's done. All right, the last event is called Countryside Playground, and I did this in the Bolide. There's one cut that you can make at 35%. It's to the left across the dirt here. Remember, this checkpoint, you don't really have to hit it. You can just kind of get close to it. I actually hit the checkpoint itself, but I think you can cut it even farther to the left and make it a little bit shorter than what I did. Anyway, that is the only cut for the race. So that is it. Let's move on to the feats. So for the slaloms, I did both of these slaloms with my racing car. I did it with the Gallardo Super Trofeo. None of the off-road categories I have score breaker in. So that being said, I tried it with this racing car and I still scored plenty high enough. The tip I have for you is the first slalom, you should do it on the opposite direction. So when you spawn, just drive around it and go back the other way. It's mostly on road when you do it that way. And secondly, you should keep your throttle down a bit in the dirt when you're braking or downshifting or turning. For some reason, you get a little bit better grip when your finger is on the gas. All right, for the escape, I'll let my full escape play so you can see the path. It wasn't the most optimized run. I definitely can do better, but you get the idea of where to go and what type of speed you're going to need to get there. The freeway jump is going to frustrate a lot of you, but it's the thing that's going to determine whether you get a good distance or an amazing distance. So what's the theme of this summit? Patience. So just be patient and keep doing the freeway jump until you get it and you can keep going and get a very long distance. All right, here are my final scores. Let me know what your before and after is after you've watched this guide. I'm really curious how it's helping you guys. I'm not even joking. I really just want to know that this is a very helpful thing. So anyway, DM me with any questions you have. I will read every single message. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope this helps. I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.